Let's get to the bottom of this one. Unspoken truths that I miss one. Tap into the minds of the people, rather acknowledge before I dismiss one. Atheists, Muslim, Christians, Buddhists, they all got usage. All got perspective, it's a collective. Get to the bottom what the truth is. With our hearts uncovered. Where detox from all of the lies you smothered. When them tries could have killed you, but with faith you recover. Yup. Peel off the makeup, we finna take off. Never said it'd be a cakewalk. Meditate till we charged up. Execute goes regardless. Decalcify my pineal. Breaking language barriers, we saw millennials. Planets passing age rotations, down mean we owe. So down mean we know. Sometimes we can be slow, that's why my ears open. Every drop you add could complete the ocean. Speak up, play your part too. Been vulnerable, it's so hard to.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kimberly with Unseen Twisted Truth. We are the People's Podcast. And we got Henry.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And we got Gilly.
Hello.
Let's get this mic up in my face.
And then we got DDH the Bubble. Peace and love to the Bubble.
Bloop. My bubble noise.
So, anyways, I don't know who else is going to join us, and maybe some people will join us from afar, and that'd be nice because I don't even care if you're on stage. You can join us from afar.
Oh, yeah. Gilly, I love your top, by the way.
Thank you.
Henry has
I've
something.
had this probably most of your life.
Yes.
Fun
Henry
fact.
has something. Henry has something similar to that.
I do. I got a striped top that I like to hang down on. I got a couple shirts that hang on the shoulder. I hated it at first, but now I understand.
Flashdance never left me. It influenced my style in ways that will last forever.
Yes.
I ain't mad at the 80s. I kind of like them.
I was born in it.
I ain't mad at them. That's the only era that I really remember because I don't remember the 70s at all.
I don't think a lot of people can say they remember the 80s. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a crucial time for me. I was like 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I was born in 74.
Oh, that's right. I mean,
so
there was a lot of confections going around at that point.
That's still my crucial time of growth, of growing up as a child.
Those formative years.
Yeah. So I want to talk about can you relate? What do you think from that, Gilly? Just from the description and from the title.
Well, I think that sometimes we have a tendency to either feel like we're the Lone Ranger, and the reality is that the human experience is pretty common. And so that's kind of the first thing that comes to mind. But also on the flip side of that, there are sometimes experiences that people go through that you, as a caring person, do your best to empathize with and understand the experience. I mean, we try to understand people's experiences through all sorts of things. But at the end of the day, you may be missing something because you're still looking at it from your perspective. So we can do our best to relate to one another, but at the end of the day, we have to sort of take people at their word when they say this was my experience.
I can receive that. What do you think, Henry?
That's good lead in. I definitely relate to it. It's true. It's a shared experience. You know, we're social animals, and it helps to find things relatable. Even as opposed to fighting with things. I guess we could delve into that, but I think people would rather relate to something. More positive feeling.
Yeah, I believe that too. You know, when I come up with the thing is because, like Gilly said, we tend to feel like we're alone, and not only the aspect of alone, but to show empathy, to say, you know what, I get it. Just because I'm not dealing with it doesn't mean I don't get it. I can relate. It may not be similar to what you're doing or what you're saying or what you're growing through, but it's relatable. It's something that I can have that understanding of getting. Lay down, please, sir.
Sorry, Gucci's.
He's here's somebody outside and excited about him. Like he's got friends that are supposed to come over here. I guess at 8:05.
I saw a basset hound earlier. He looked suspicious.
Oh yeah, he's
Suspiciously
coming
cute.
over here
Sorry.
partying. But anyway, so like the feelings, one thing. People think that they're feeling a certain way that no one else can receive. No one gets it because they're not feeling it. It's my feelings. And one of the example was, you ever feel like you're alone in a crowded room? And a lot of people won't be able to receive that. They're like, yeah, what does that mean? There's a whole definition though to that, and it's a whole study of psychology of why you feel that way, isolation and stuff. Abandonment issues. There's things that are deeper that people think that I'm feeling this way just because I'm feeling this way. They're not thinking that it's something bigger and deeper, but yet at the end of the day, it is. There's a reason that you're feeling this way, and it's deeper level than than what you're just thinking. Go ahead.
Well, I actually didn't have anything. I've realized now, and I hope someone can relate to this, that I haven't been able to tag followers or highlight anything for a long time now. It's been weeks, and I don't understand social media, so I'm just gonna go highlight, highlight. Come jump on the podcast. If you follow me. Yeah, come on. But I don't know. I guess that could be a allegory for how hard technology is to navigate or something. I'm sure a lot of people find that relatable. Certainly a lot of different things.
I went through a scenario today, and it was the weirdest thing ever. And it happened to me on two occasions. I posted something on Facebook, which is social media. I'm being social on social media, doing what you're supposed to be doing. And people have a comment. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your opinion and your comments. They come at you as if your opinion is what solidifies everything in this world. Your opinion made a huge difference and impact in not only in my life, but my job, my children's life, and everything in this world because you had that opinion. And I need to tell you about it.
Yeah.
And that's the weirdest feeling ever, I think. I get it. If you feel some type of way about something, please voice your opinion on it. But at the end of the day, remember what it is. It's an opinion, just like mine was.
Well, I think feeling alone in a crowded room, back to that. I mean, everybody at some point can relate to feeling isolated. I don't think that I felt that as much in my earlier years as I have in the more recent years. And that's due to the development of some other things. But people can also, it's also a relatable feeling because there are relatable experiences that people have where they're made to feel alone in a crowded room, and sometimes it's malicious, sometimes it's a bullying thing, or an ostracizing or a shunning thing in order to try to modify somebody's behavior, or or gather some sort of group camaraderie by singling someone out. But it can also happen, for instance, if you're a new person in a new place and there are people there and they have all these established relationships and memories together, and they are doing life together, and you sort of show up new on the spot. Even if people are trying to be gracious and welcoming, it can still feel very isolating.
There's a lot of reasons for it. I just Googled it. I just trusted the old internet. And it says the lack of meaningful communication, social anxiety, super radical relationships or superficial relationships, mismatched or of expectations, depression or other mental health conditions, agoraphobia, loneliness as a part of human experience. There's so many different reasons why someone can feel that way. And it's not just because it's a feeling. It's something deeper. And that's what I really wanted to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of can you relate moments. Like, do you have a can you relate moment? What's your can you relate moment?
I want Gilly to go first because she looks like she was ready to.
All right,
But
Gilly, what's your
No,
commit?
actually, I was looking forward to you going first.
okay, I like that. I can relate to that. Can you relate? What's a can you relate to moment? Well, I used to work in a lot of trade places, in trades. I trades my whole life, and specifically a lot of farm work. And I realized I was doing. I didn't have anything to talk about with them, and I spent large amounts of time just really confined and isolated. I just didn't have anything in common with anybody, so I really felt alone. I guess in a crowded room that we might have been building. Yeah, it sucks. That sucks when you're in that kind of situation. So I wanted to actually go back and then answer the question earlier, since I've been had just a spastic day, and use a scenario in which I was in to sound relatable. So hopefully that helps.
Go ahead, Gilly. Can you relate?
So are we sharing a scenario and asking if others can relate to this, or are we staying on the feeling isolated and sharing a time that we felt that way?
Have you felt that way with him? And then do your can you relate?
Have
Have
I
you felt
have,
that way where you felt isolated and alone?
oh sure,
Okay,
absolutely.
yes. So scenario, and then
And then you can switch it up and we'll do yours can you relate. But I want to see if who can relate to his feeling.
so if you can relate to being in like a workplace where you feel completely out of touch with everybody, I guess.
Yeah, one of my first actually my first couple jobs when I came here, I was sort of walking into a situation where this is a town where everybody knows somebody, you know, everybody's through somebody. And I knew one person there and I was very grateful to have her, but for the most part, I felt like I was almost walking in on a family, and they already had this working dynamic going, and they already had this social hierarchy and these unspoken rules that I had no prior exposure to. And
Hmm.
so it very much felt like I was the outsider trying to make myself or make my way in. And I think actually that can happen at jobs, that can happen in any sort of social structure where there tends to be a underlying hierarchy and or social dynamic going on that is unique to the people that created it. So anyone coming in is going to feel on the outside of that, and it can be made worse or better depending on how everybody navigates one another. But yes, so I had that work experience. Um,
So I hadn't really had the work experience aspect of feeling isolated, but I did have that where they didn't take me seriously because of my title, even though I'm the only one who really knew what was going on with the resident. That the LPN and the doctor and the nurse and all of them were talking amongst themselves. And in this job, I was just the CNA at this job.
Hmm.
So it wasn't the job where I was the nurse. It was just the CNA at this job. So they, even though I had that degree and I could do nursing and I have done nursing in facilities, that one I wasn't. So they didn't look at me as if I was educated enough to know what was going on, even though I'm the only one that was working with that resident firsthand.
Yeah.
So I had more of a knowledge than they all did, but because I was the peon in the room to them, that I had no clue what was going on. And then when I spoke to the PA about it and she looked at me like I wasn't supposed to do that. My head nurse come to me and said that's a chain of order that you cannot cross and you never speak to her and you never speak to the doctor. Well, because I spoke to the doctor about the PA and he said that and they told me I could never speak to the doctor. I could never speak to the doctor. I have to go to my charge nurse, to the PA, then she will go to the doctor. I'm beneath the doctor to speak to the doctor. The doctor didn't treat me like I was beneath the doctor. The doctor listened to me, took my advice, and wrote down what I said about the resident and used that. But the PA was so upset that I did not go to the proper channels and go to her first, that she went and turned me in, and I got a write up and in trouble for it. And I felt like, because of my title at this job at that present moment, did not make me any less of knowledgeable, because I too done the same thing you all did and went through the same things you all went through and got the same kind of education you all got. But yet I'm not looked at that, because at the job I was at, I wasn't that wasn't my position. So yeah, I kind of again felt isolated in the room, even though it wasn't that exact same. But I did seem like, I was the peon over the whole thing.
That's ridiculous.
I've had a couple hospital experiences, but also a workplace experience, actually, now that I'm remembering, that kind of reminds me of what you just described. Where I was working in the design department for a marketing company. So they did branding and all the graphics and the menus and the interior design. And I was in the interior design department, and I was pretty fresh out of college. And the person who was the department head did not have a background in interior design. She had known the owner of the company and got the job other ways. And we had a disagreement on how to come up with her design. Hers was typically to look online, look in magazines, and then sort of cut and paste and put together a mood board, and then pull a design from all these other designs that we've looked at. Whereas I had a more technical approach because of my schooling, and I uncovered problems, and I came up with a theme according to the client's needs and the market needs, and so on and so forth. Anyway, I came up with a pretty cool concept that I called Grandma's House on Acid. And she didn't like it because I didn't do all the mood boards and stuff. So I took it to the owner, essentially, and got fired about a week later by her for not coming in on hours that I was not scheduled to come in. So
Nice.
I learned a I don't know if that's exactly being alone in the room, but it does relate to this sort of idea that because I was in a certain position, I was not expected, or I was not, it was expected that I would only go to her, and that I would always do things her way, and that I didn't have anything fresh or new or unique to contribute.
Oh,
And
I get that.
they did go with my design, though. So somewhere in New Mexico, my design it's there.
Well,
But
heck yeah, Gilly.
years ago, years and years ago. And
So
then
oh, sorry.
go ahead.
I was say I got one. Go ahead. Go ahead, Gilly.
One of my kids had, without trying to share too much of their information, of sudden onset of a very rare neurological sleep disorder. And when we initially went to the hospital, they were saying, oh, it could be this. And I'm like, then do that. Bring in these people, do the test. But I'm telling you, something's not right. You're not barking up the right tree. It's something else. And they, at one point were convinced it was encephalopathy and all these other serious things. And finally got frustrated when they weren't finding anything. And then suddenly we're saying, well, this seems normal. They seem normal. They seem like they're talking normal. And I kept saying, no, this is not normal. The seizure is not normal. The gait's not normal. The speech is not normal. None of this is normal. Well, we don't know. We don't know. And suddenly my expertise on my children did not supersede their medical knowledge, even though they had no clue what was going on. So they had to make it like, I obviously am making a mountain out of a molehill, and I eventually got, found out what it was and got a diagnosis. But it was incredibly, not only an isolating experience, because I was there, I didn't leave the hospital for more than a week. I had to bring my other kids there to school them, and it felt very much like I was sort of the Lone Ranger fighting with the doctors. No, you've got to do more tests. You've got to look at different things. And that was a scary experience. I don't know if it was socially isolating as much as it just felt like the world was on my shoulders to
For
try to
sure.
overcome
That's
it.
that's absolutely a lot of pressure. Wanted to jump. I totally relate. I mean, been in weird hospital settings like that, so I can relate. It's nothing fun there. I wanted to jump on the comments and say, Valora Brand, hi, beautiful people, and hello, beautiful Valora. We got
That's it. That's on me.
oh, we got Kimberly asking, Valora Brand, can you relate to the workplace isolation?
That's it.
So let's see about that.
So what's your next thing can you relate, Gilly?
A thing that I think is common that a lot of people can relate to, or
Not even common, just something that you experience and you want to know if people can relate to that feeling or that it doesn't even have to be a feeling.
I most certainly have one if you can't figure one out, Gilly. I'm just being Budinsky too. Not two.
you go
I
first.
never do it, so I'm trying to try new
I had
things.
so many of these. I had so many of these coming into it, and then you get
Me
on
too.
and your mind goes blank, and now can you relate to knowing that you need to write things down and prepare better, but you still don't? How about that one?
There you go. That is a good one. That
sucks.
is a good one. And I'm bad at that because even though I probably should, I never do neither.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at that. How about you? Can you relate to that?
Horribly. I say, you gotta start a list. You gotta start a list, and then someone will call me and I'll be like, oh, I got a list going, and I'll write, and it'll end up with 1,000 different numbers scribbled in diagonal lines on it, and then maybe a doodle or something. I can't keep anything in writing. I can't do it. So it's horrifyingly relatable to me. I've tried. I can't.
So what's your can you relate thing then?
Ooh, mine was putting on a different face for different people. Can y'all relate?
Oh, fuck.
I didn't want to use I wanted to use something not personal. Maybe it's personal, but that's it.
Damn, I can relate to that. I can relate to that so heavy. I can relate to that. Yes, 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 yes. And it's not, I'm staying authentic to myself. So it's not taking myself out of my authenticness. It's not everybody deserves that energy or gets that of me. Different people get different sides of me. So yeah, I do. It's not faking though, because it's still genuine. I'm still genuine to them. They just don't get that of me.
Right.
You get my raw open. Not a lot of people get my raw open because they can't handle it.
It's a powerful force.
Yeah. How about you, Gilly? Have you ever felt like you put on a different face for a different person?
Again, kind of like you said, not inauthentically. I have you are in a profession. So here's one. When my best friend growing up and I would hear each other like answer the phone or be on a work call or something, and we used to make calls for Vietnam veterans, and when we would be on a work call, all of a sudden our voice would totally change. And like there was one day that we just sort of noticed it. Like we're talking normally, and then suddenly it's, hello, how are you today? and so I think that you walk. I just started, because I was doing open mics going to bars this past year, because I'm not a drinker, but I did like going for the music and the open mics, and I noticed it wasn't that I put on an authentic face, but I probably shut down my energy in a lot of ways, a lot more, because it was a new territory. It was a new environment for me. And so that made it sort of hard to just be as free as I necessarily would be in somebody's backyard or at a campfire. And then I've been in situations where, out of survival, I have had to put on another face, pretend that I'm happy, pretend that I'm okay with things. And when I'm not, I don't, without necessarily going into specifics, and it's a spectrum. I mean, sometimes it's just for something as simple as, you were around kids and you can't lose your shit around
Right.
kids. It's like a common rule. It's just,
Yeah, there's
allowed to do
variables
it.
to this too.
Not a good idea. But there were other times when there was a pending threat, and so yeah, you learn to suppress, you learn to put on an okay face. I recently have had, I tend to picture things before I create them, and creating has been pretty hard, but I had this idea of essentially, me or a woman sitting there, sort of bag on face, taped up with a smiley face on and thumbs up, like, yeah, I'm okay, in a room full of crowded people with their life just happening and going on. And you don't want to disrupt that, and you don't want to be the negative person in the room, and you don't want to bring your bullshit to the party, and you don't want to enter into another relationship that starts with you trauma dumping, because the people that tend to get into the relationships are not the people that are doing well in their lives, and therefore don't, necessarily, we have this, oh, I can't disturb my peace culture right now. So it's not going to be those people. It's typically going to be the people that are um, somewhat either predatory or commiserating, and so I think that we put on different faces authentically, but we put on different faces because different situations may even trigger different programmed responses within us.
Yeah, I agree. Mine is that you're alone in your thoughts and your perception of this world. I feel many times that I'm alone when have a feeling of this world, and how I feel that matter only exists when you give it attention, and that nothing is real, and everything is illusion of reality, and how we feel and our energy that we protrude out into the world is what we get. I feel that I'm alone in that thought.
What, the putting out energy and receiving the same type of energy in
And matter
kind?
only exists when you give it attention. Like, I believe that nothing out here really is going on until I give it attention and think that it's going on.
I tend to disagree with that on some levels. On a lot of levels. I mean, things are going on. There are things going on.
And then it only is irrelevant when it matters, when people bring it to attention.
Is that to protect your peace?
No, because I believe that that homeless man sleeping outside at wherever he is irrelevant until I happen to see him sleeping outside. I believe that things that people are going through and the struggles that people are dealing with are real, but I think that that only matters when someone gives it attention. Besides that, then it's just brushed under the rug and it no longer matters.
Okay, I needed to hear the end of that. I was worried. Yeah, I feel bad for those things that happen. There's all this stuff going on, and we got to be selective about where we put the needle down on the record and try and maybe interject ourselves into it. I think we could be doing more on a grand scale to help the homeless guy
No,
down the
what
road.
happened to your dad today? There's an example. That's a prime example. What happened to your dad today?
Today?
What he got a letter saying.
Well, it didn't happen today.
But today was an issue to him.
Today was an issue to him. He couldn't get a hold of a storage company because their numbers are all whacked out or something. But he's trying to get a hold of a storage company because his entire life has been seized by basically the government. And they're having a bunch of court cases behind his back, like he's hooked up on ventilators or something. They're not inviting him. And
And taking away his rights for what?
for everything. for having guns. Well, actually, I'm going to be looking into this a little further with a few more officials to find out exactly what's going on. But yeah, they're basically putting everything his rights on the chopping block, And my dad has a hard time keeping his medication straight. Now, when he has medication straight, he's pretty on point. And I understand why certain people would want to look into if a person is mentally capable, if their faculties are okay. My dad's not slipped that far, in my opinion. Really, he needs some aides, some help, some nurses.
He needs
He
someone to
can't,
make sure he takes his medication on time. That's
someone
it.
to watch his back. Isn't there enough people to do this? But no, they're just flaying him. They're just spreading him out on the chopping block, basically, and it's just crazy to me. They're seizing all of his money, so he had to go through, and he's begging for help from these people to let him pay his storage fees with all his instruments in it.
And none of that matters until someone gives it attention. It's
No.
going on.
Well, neither did the other 4 people I talked to last year who were in their 50s, 60s, 70s who were like, I almost lost my house. I almost lost everything and shit. You want to make the podcast good? Why does it cost more than $1,000 to get an old man off the street who's paid taxes his whole life? Obviously he missed a few of them at the end there. He needs help.
It's not even a potato
Yeah, no, I
salad
think
moment.
that's awesome.
Just giving one though.
It sucks.
So I'm
It really
convinced
sucks.
that a lot of mental illness is induced. Certainly in your dad's case, if he's struggling already with his health and things like that, and now they're sort of coming after his autonomy and his dignity and his right to have a say over his own life, and to it is sort of an infantilizing position, right? That they're putting him in.
Yes,
And
it really is.
and I can relate to that very much. You can
Can you
also
relate to the feeling of matter only exists when someone gives it attention? That's the one.
I can relate to disassociating. However, which is the closest relation that I have to it. But as far as once something is out of my view, no, I have a tendency to ruminate on things. If I see something, it tends to bother me for days or weeks or months and now years. So I have and my unhealthy coping mechanism that sort of proves that it still exists even when I'm not thinking about it is to try to dissociate and distract, and rather than addressing it because I feel powerless in those situations, I will distract. And the thing is that the problem doesn't get better, whether it's my own realities that I'm not paying attention to because it's too much, or it's other people's realities or the realities that are going on in the world, all over the world, that I feel like I want to do something about, yet I'm having trouble even doing the basic things for myself. um, but the reality is that the longer that people don't act, the longer that I don't act in my own life or in others, the longer that other people don't act, the worse the problem gets. The reality still continues to reality. And so I guess on that level, I would say I can't relate because, but I can relate to sort of tuning everything out. Um, Even if I can only do it for about 15 minutes at a time, you know?
Yes. I can relate to that. Um, I'm gonna see what Chili Mo has put on here, and maybe we can relate to that as well. But I do agree. This is good here. Says, I've dealt with this many times in the work environment. I feel it's important to detach from people in any fast paced environment. Protecting your energy is good for self care. Distractions are everywhere. Allow people to have limited access to you, is my motto. Give less time to people that neglect you emotionally. Family or friends, no one is exempt when it comes to your mental health.
Period.
Can't disagree with that.
So,
Cold.
so what's another can you relate moment for you?
Can you relate moment? Ah, well, it can be anything, huh?
It could be anything.
So you want to relate it to something we were talking about?
And no, it's anything you want. And a feeling that you have that you made you feel alone at it. I have one. I'm ready to cancel this game at any given time.
Oh,
I feel like this game has been played over and over and over, and it's still being played. And I would love to be able to just say either I don't want to do over. I don't want to do over. I want to say, okay, I give up because no matter how much I play the game, the outcome's still always the same. Even though I change the players, I change my scenario, I change my outlook, I change how I feel. I am so quick to want to cash out my chips every day.
that's
Every day.
the most. So we got to play this game very carefully, right?
Hmm.
I had that thought earlier. I wasn't gonna go there. Just potato salad with me, and I relate to that. I relate to that because I wanted to quit playing. You're playing a video game and you keep getting your ass handed to you and you keep losing everything, and you're like, man, I'm tired of farming all this stupid item stuff. I'm tired of. I don't even. The bosses aren't fun anymore. The combo system's really gotten weak. I just kind of feel like not playing anymore. And when I do that with a video game, I said, I'm just gonna lose it. But the thing about that is you can come back to that video game at some point.
Mm-hmm.
You can put the game back in. I've done that, and I've actually found that I enjoy the game more because I took a little break for it. But it's heavy. 'Cause I used to think about slamming the game shut and turning it off with such a depressive attitude about it, like. And now it's even worse because I look at it and I'm like, well, this game looks kind of inherently broken in a way. And I don't know, there's too many players on the server and all the caches are all full and it's too hard to even understand all these stupid controls they've added. I don't get them. And it's more, do I want to keep playing the damn game anymore? I'm not upset about it. And that may be a scarier feeling than just depressed, which I've been with the game. Because I've been really depressed playing the game. And I almost made a spur of the moment decision. But when it stops being a spur of the moment decision, then it becomes something that's ruminating. And it's really, really weighing the options.
I will never quit the game.
No,
That is not what I'm saying.
I don't want to.
Have you ever related to wanting to quit the game, Gilly?
I've related to people playing games that I didn't want to play. When it comes to real life people, my life, my kids' lives, my family's lives, my friends' lives, the relationships that I have. I've related to, seems like everybody's playing a game and I don't know the rules to it. And I haven't even been told what the game is or what the objective is or why people seem to be competing or making certain moves and decisions that don't seem to make sense to either the values I aligned with them or the values I aligned with myself. If you're talking about are you talking about an actual physical game that I know that I'm playing?
I'm talking about this bullshit that we call reality.
Gilly, this is a allegory for
We're
different words we can't use.
we're doing it to show we don't get
Yeah,
plugged.
well, I remember the first time I ever had those ideations were when I was still married and my ex-husband would make me do things to have access to money for the kids.
Mm.
And I remembered imagining myself hanging from a billboard saying, this is what narcissistic abuse looks like. But of course, I never really went that far. I knew that that wasn't healthy, and I got therapy at the time and continued in it. However, I always had I couldn't do that to my kids because kids will blame themselves no matter what. And there is a chance that things can get better, and I couldn't leave them. I felt like I was the only one in the world that they had. And then this past year, yeah, I for it became real, and it became clear that I have lost things that I am never going to, lost people that I'm never going to have access to or know how they're doing.
At the
Um,
present moment. At the present moment.
I really
and
don't want to
so
trivialize it either.
I can relate to not only saying fuck it, but waking up every morning and crying because it's
Still
the
here.
same reality,
Yeah.
just one day more in.
Yeah.
So I relate to that heavily. I do not want to trivialize it by relating it to the game. I don't want to trigger people with that such a heavy thing they're going through, and maybe that's beneficial for that, but I have to because we'll get shut down.
We'll get shut down. Life is not a game, it's serious, and we all have this one chance to play it, and it seems like it plays us lots of the times, and that we're just non-players, non-functioning players, even though we are. It feels like we have no say or control over it at
Well,
times.
sometimes we haven't had say or control, and we've tried to the point where trying feels futile and stupid.
The 6 viewers and the people in the comments that I've seen and the 13 hearts there and likes on the thing, you make the game worth playing a little more, and I fucking
Facts.
mean that.
Facts. I play the game for that reason. And it's funny though. Here's another can you relate? And then you guys can jump in at any given time.
Let's change it up.
Can you relate though that they rather have you and we are going to get in trouble by somebody, and I don't care, it's my opinion. That's all it is my opinion. Can you relate to the fact that they rather have us pray over something that's no longer here for the ideal of it to give us some form of belief?
Potato salad.
Yeah. Over the fact of that you can't just be you. You can't just be you. Society doesn't want you to be you. It wants you to be a version of you that is they're acceptable to, or they will accept. Can you relate to that?
I'm not exactly agreeable.
You don't have to be. Can you relate to it?
I can relate to that. Yeah, I can relate to that. I feel like that a lot of the time.
Yeah. Can you relate to that, Gilly?
In general, I mean, I think that more so society doesn't necessarily care who you are at this point unless you bother them, unless you somehow disrupt the status quo, unless you somehow disrupt their life or their peace or whatever. I think that for the most part people don't really give a shit who you are, to be honest. And I think that if you've been in situations where you've been living up to certain expectations for so long and you no longer feel like you can live up to those expectations anymore, that sometimes people don't react well to that. I think that if you're in a position where you're sick and maybe you can't identify what the illness is, but you're sick, and therefore you become a responsibility, that nobody gives a shit who you are anymore. They just care how you're affecting their lives. And so yeah.
I think
Hmm.
I
Do different. Can you relate?
what's that?
Do different. Can you relate?
Indifferent, can you relate? I wasn't ready for you to ask me a different can you relate.
You haven't gave what I've been shooting them.
I've been coming up. Okay. Thinking about others instead of yourself. Can you relate?
Gilly, can you relate to that? Thinking of others besides yourself?
Sure. Yeah, I can relate to that. I've spent too much of my life doing that. Um, no,
I can definitely relate to that also.
but at the same time, I think a series of events that happened this past year that have put me in positions where I constantly am looking back at myself, and I don't like that. I like that. I mean, I think that you should have some healthy balance of being able to focus on yourself and focus on others. It has not proven to be a healthy balance either way for me, and not for a long time.
They say that they're your friends. They say that they're your friends. They said that this is my friend so and so. This is my friend so and so. Yet you don't get invited to none of the events. You don't get calls of how you're doing. You don't get checked on. You don't get invitations to anything. But yet you are their friend. Can you relate to that feeling?
Yeah, I got a lot of people on red, and there's chunks of days where I unclench all the stress in my body and I go, I'm gonna get back to these messages. I'm sorry, I'm a terrible friend. I'm gonna watch these Jesus Christ 25 reels, and I feel bad about it. Feel bad about it, and I'll use that as the example because that's how I relate to it.
Gilly, can you relate?
Yeah, I've gone through that a lot of times. I feel like I've lost multiple families, multiple communities, multiple groups of friends. Um, when I went through some sort of crisis and they were not able to handle being my friend during a crisis, despite the fact that I often showed up for them. When I was moving here, um, I couldn't get a single friend in Florida to come and help me, even when I was offering them free stuff that they wanted. And the one person that came and helped me flew down from Michigan to help. So I felt pretty friendless then. Um, I've been going through some issues with my life and with mental health this past year, that I cannot seem to get on top of. And I again lost people that I thought were my friends, that I thought were my family, because they can't handle it, or because I'm not showing them growth. I don't know. Um, they all have their own reasons, and I'm not saying I don't understand at all. Um, I am saying that I wouldn't do that. Um, and I have been in situations where I've actually felt I've lost two people over the past 3 years to to quitting the game, and
Thank you.
I miss them, and they were. It was both at different times, totally unrelated to each other, different groups, different, but both of them had tried reaching out to me, via Facebook and Messenger right before, and they were messages that I didn't get to right away. One of them, he was incredibly intelligent and incredibly educated, and so sometimes it would take a lot to read through the text because it was a lot to process. Um, I wasn't on the same intelligence level. I had to research things, and so I didn't always check the messages right away, and had a lot of regrets that I didn't read back through the messages. I did end up responding to that friend, but had no idea the seriousness of what he was saying or going through at the time. And so that weighs very heavily on me. And then another friend who had been reaching out to me, and I was with my kid at the time, and so I didn't reach back out, and didn't have another chance to. And so those things stay with me as well. I had an incident in my family where one of them tried to end the game, and I was not told about it, and I should have been the first one called twice. So I also can relate to feeling being having the opportunity to show up and to be there, and to be a real mother, a real friend, a real sister, a real whatever, being withheld from me because of people's ideas about what I'm doing in my life or what's going on with my mental health.
That's
I can
terrible.
relate to that
That's
too.
yeah.
I can relate to that too. That
I
happened to me with my biological mother. I didn't have a say, even though I was the one that was supposed to make the say.
Yeah.
And they chose to pull the plug in without even letting me know that she was even on a ventilator. And I didn't find out she was gone until my sister Tanya told me she was gone. So I can relate to that.
like missing large choices or
Just to being able to
just
say goodbye or
yeah.
even having a say in it, even though I was supposed to. I was her medical power attorney. It was my decision. They took that from me because they
And
could.
that sucks when you have every legal right and there's nothing
Yeah.
that you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of it feels somehow in some way relatable to what I'm feeling with Dad. Oh, and hopefully not like it's a future type thing. I mean, that's very possible. I'm
Yeah.
really trying to manifest that. Once again,
Are
I
you in
don't
a
like the way.
position to advocate for him?
I'm gonna figure something out. I may or may not be going back to Michigan at some point here to go figure some shit out.
Here's Chili Mo's.
Let me
Can
jump
you
on.
relate?
Chili Mo. When I feel like giving up, I try to reconnect with my tribe of people. I believe it's important when this life gives us BS, so to speak. Ambitious people tend to put themselves into a mental prison in their own heads.
Mm.
Our thoughts could be our worst enemies. Unconscious decision making is never healthy in life. Release those thoughts you can't control. Life is a one big game. You don't have to play by the rules. Really, you have the power to create your own narrative in life. Control your I'm going to say consciousness because the comment's too long. Chili, you're absolutely right. Honestly, I can relate to that. I'm really trying to play a different game. I do not want to go quietly into that loading screen. I want to find different biomes to swing a pickaxe in or whatever. That's all for the game people out there. But and once again, I really do. I don't want to stay on this course because there's quitting the game is not an option.
I've told somebody before, help me see what you see. Help me see what you see so we can change the narrative. Help me see your vision so we can change our reality. So
So
yeah.
here's one with what you just said, Kim. Can you ever relate to being told that you're given the opportunity now to speak? You've been silenced for a long time, and now somebody is listening, and you are so either overwhelmed or confused about what happened, either because things were withheld from you or You just don't have all the pieces for whatever reason. And you don't want to potentially ostracize another person, or have another person ostracize you. And you have opened your mouth multiple times before, only to get a lot of backlash about it, or a lot of "I'm sorry's, I'll pray for yous," which honestly kind of feels the same as backlash at certain times. And
This is what I feel when they say that to me.
yeah, yeah.
But it's actually this, to be honest with you. But
Right.
we'll just go here.
Right. Those became some of my least favorite words. Not that I love praying people, and I love that they do that. But yeah, that's not the response that feels helpful. But
I can
so
relate.
to finally perhaps having a platform in which you can use your voice, and not being able to use it anyway.
Yes, I can relate to that. I have a whole opinion to Chili Mo. Reading lips is great, Chili Mo, but Henry never thought that. He never thought that. He said there was more to it, but he couldn't read it. And he never felt like that, whatever that is.
Excuse me, the book. LOL, Henry. I really felt your point on the subject. That's
And
great.
he said he could read lips, but you never said nothing.
No, I did it just now. I was listening to Gilly. I get okay, getting between several people talking and then something you're doing, and this is not an attack on anybody, but I get it all the time. Can anybody relate to that? Getting so fucking spaced out and overstimulated from things.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can relate to Gilly's too. I relate to Gilly's and I
I
relate to
do.
yours. I do have a mental shutdown after a while, and I'll just look at someone amulously, and it's like I'm not here, but I'm here. I don't know. You want to ask me what you're saying? I'll probably repeat what you're saying, because I'm on autopilot. But at the end of the day, it's going in. I don't know what it's doing when it comes in, though. I promise you, but it's going in.
Well, I told Kimberly the other day. I set my hairbrush on the table. She's sighing, and Kimberly looks at me and she goes, "Henry, I don't want you to put the hairbrush on the table. You should put anything but the hairbrush on the
It's my
table."
pet peeve.
And I'm like, I relate to that. It's a hairbrush. It's got hair follicles and dead skin in it and whatever else, probably leave-in conditioner. Anyway, so I came back out and the tablecloth was gone off of the table, and I'm like, Kimberly, you fucking wash that tablecloth because I put my hairbrush on it. I'm sorry, I get it. It was dirty. She's like, no, I did. I told you I had to wash the tablecloth, and I told you my coat smelled bad, and I had to wash the coat too. And she might have did tell me that, but I was so burnt out when you told me those things. I didn't get any of that information. I was probably just staring off into the void as information went in and fried neural synapses and then came out the other ear.
But the coat wasn't the same day. I told you about the coat before, and I even had you smell it. And I said, "Doesn't it smell weird to you? I smells like piss to me." And you're like, "No, it's like a moldy smell, but it don't smell like pee." And I'm like, "For me, it's overwhelming. It smells like pee."
Well,
It's been going on for weeks, and I was just like, "I can't take it no more." Today, I put it on again, and I was like, "I may not have to wear the coat ever again this season," but just thought of it when I put it on again. It was like, "Man, I really should just wash the coat." I don't know why I keep putting this nasty ass thing next to my face. So I had it over the cherry, and I forgot to wash the tablecloth yesterday, and that's what I was meant to do, was wash everything, including the tablecloth yesterday, because I washed everything. I washed all the sheets, every single thing that needed to be washed. I washed,
that's why I related so heavily to someone, when you said they write things down.
but I totally forgot about
I
the
should have wrote it
tablecloth,
down.
and I looked at the tablecloth when I moved the hairbrush, and I was like, "Man, I should have washed the tablecloth. I forgot all about it. I need to wash this coat anyways because it's irritating me." So why not wash the tablecloth at the same time?
It's a true story.
Not thinking about his damn hairbrush being on it.
I was upset. I was like, I am not filthy like that.
I didn't think
So
about the hairbrush, and I told him when he got back, I said, "Henry, our minds are the same." I said, "I swear to you." I said, "I forgot about the hairbrush. I forgot about it being on the table. I didn't dwell on it. I
I
do
did.
remember that the tablecloth
and
looked like
it
it really needed a
disappeared.
bath."
because it was out of sight, out of matter for you.
That's right. I took it and put it
Oh,
somewhere else, and it no longer existed to me.
Now we are relating all these topics. I did the writing thing. We're doing it.
Yeah.
We're relating everything back to the beginning.
And the
Well-
thing is though, I just remember when I looked at it, it had some food particles on it and stuff like that, and it's a body pillow that I cut in half to make a tablecloth. So it's like a pillowcase material. So I really wanted to wash it because I was like, ew. I put my food there and it looks like it's had a lot of stuff spilled on it.
So I have
I
a
wa-
weird thing for people's smells. I kind of like people's smells. I do. I'm the girl that doesn't wash the t-shirt, you know, like
I like
keep it
people's smells
forever and I'll
too.
put it on my pillow. I'll use
Yeah.
it as a case. You know, I'm that one. But as far as like losing train of thought and conversation with ADHD, I can relate to that a lot. I used to work in an engineering firm, and the two girls that trained me the most, one was pretty laid back. She was from Canada, and she realized that like after 2 minutes, if it wasn't something that interested me, that was it. You had about a 2-minute window to explain something to me, and then you better let me off and run, you know. And then there was the other girl who, love her to death, but we were doing grocery store remodels, and she would get into the history of the grocery and then why people did this, and I wasn't into it. I just wanted to know, all right, where are we placing the fire exits, you know, and what's, because it was prototype design, there's not a lot of creativity. But you know, and what are the codes, can I move on now? And she would get so frustrated with me, and the other one was like, you know, you got 2 minutes, you got 2 minutes with her. That's it. And then I space out, and I don't do it on purpose. Somebody can say a word and suddenly my mind is totally chasing down another train of thought and another conversation and another time. Simply, that's just, and so I have to work really hard. I tend to fidget with things. I tend to, if I really want to pay attention to things, I have a phone or a craft or something in my hand. I can't even, you know, watch a movie without rewinding it because the conversations get too long. So,
Dude, the fidget thing, I'm out of coffee. Every fiber in my body says to get up and get more coffee, because I take drinks out of things to make myself appear normal in conversation. Can you relate to that? That's pretty fucked up.
My dad does that. My dad does that.
Like if
You
I'm
take-
anxious or somebody's like grilling me on something or something, I will take drinks out of something that I'm thinking about to say or something. Like
Yeah, my dad does that just to feel like he's in a conversation.
so I
I
didn't
can't.
do,
I
I didn't
can't
do a
relate.
drinking thing, but
I
I
can't.
had
Yeah.
a necklace that I didn't take off my neck for 10 years, and the hospital lost it, and I'm still pissed about it. But my thing was the necklace. Put the necklace in my mouth, or and
my
it's
gosh.
probably fidget with things. I do. But I don't know. I think I probably laugh more than I normally would, to like, and nod more. I mean, you can tell if I'm lost. If I look absolutely very, very interested, I'm probably lost. So
Have you had a thought? Have you had a thought where you had to touch? See, I have a thing where I have to touch certain things, and when I have to touch something, it's in my head, and it's like, go touch it, 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 go touch it. So I have to go touch it because I can't not touch it, because in my head it's telling me I need to go touch it. We were at the studio the other day, and Danny was getting ready to rehearse or to record his verse on a song. I had to say, hold on for a second, and I had to touch the felt in front of him before he could.
Hmm.
It was weird. If I see somebody, because I'm a feeler. I don't know why, but I'm a feeler. Like even when I'm sleeping, I have to touch your skin, and I do this with my fingers. I have to touch.
You need people like a cat.
I do. And I have to do this when I'm sleeping. And I have to touch. So I have to touch. And if I don't touch, I feel like in my head it's like touch it, until you touch it. And it was so weird. The material, I couldn't tell by looking at it what kind of material it was. So I had to touch it to feel it, because in my mind I needed to feel what kind of material that was.
Yeah.
I'll do it to random strangers. I'll go up to them and I'll just grope them for a second and I'll be like, I apologize. I had to touch you. I had to touch your
Oh.
material. I didn't mean it, but like certain things that my brain is like, go touch
Your Brian.
My brain.
I have a Brian.
my
now.
brain.
No.
Said, go touch that.
We
And
had
then I
s-
have to do it. If not, it's just whining inside of me.
I get that. I relate to that. I got Missy. We got someone else who relates. Missy Deagle. I have 2 squishy fidgets in my work coat pocket for when I get stressed out. There's been times I let my coworkers use them because they've gotten overwhelmed. That's okay. Sharing coping strategy.
Yeah. I like that.
That's, I
that
like
would be
that. That's very nice of
I
you.
think that's a whole interesting topic just on its own. I noticed that, like, so I had kids that were in OT when they were younger, and there are certain things that you use in OT, occupational therapy and physical therapy, that that I've noticed are like being manufactured and sold in like the toy aisle now. And
I've seen that.
I think there's an increase in not only children but adults needing something to soothe, needing things to help themselves soothe. And I wonder what's going on societally and culturally that are making us all self-soothers right now. Because before, those things were sort of left to a very specific therapy and context of people that needed them, and it seems like we all need it now.
Yeah. I mean, I think, what are they called? Squishmallows, which I have, are purchased primarily by adults, right? Let's get some
Are they?
statistics on that, people. I know a shit ton of adults who have tons of them. I have one. It's amazing.
I know a lot of adults that have them too.
Put drugs in mine. No, that's bad. No, I love my Squishmallows. But yeah, they're very popular among people who have feeling, like
sensory
Yeah.
tactile
Yeah.
needs.
Yes.
It is
And
a sensory issue, though. It is a
no,
sensory input, tactile input. There we go. That's what it is.
and I can relate a little bit because I have my stuffed animals and I sleep with 2 combat knives now and a katana, actually. So don't break in this
Well,
one.
I notice that when I'm feeling upset or dysregulated, that human touch, it just helps. It just does. It brings down the heart rate. It quiets the thoughts a little bit because now you're having some other sensory input, and it's shutting down some of the other things because your brain now has another function that it can focus on. And I think touch is important in terms of like, but what you're describing is almost like intrusive thoughts that almost like a sneeze, like you feel that sneeze, and until you sneeze, it's just you gotta sneeze. But I know that they can be caused by situations. For instance, my bigs used to each have their own room, and so I would sleep in the living room on a couch, and then they would come out onto the couch and sleep on top of me every night because I was a single mom, and that's kind of how it ends up happening. But where I would sleep in the living room overlooked a glass door, porch door, sliding door. And so we were literally sleeping right there facing that door, and my house got broken into. I didn't wake up. My kids didn't wake up. I only know because in the morning that door was open and things were missing. They sort of came in the back, took a couple things in my purse, and unlocked the car with the keys in the purse, and made it that way. But it was terrifying to think that me and my bigs, who were pretty little then, had somebody in the house. And if I had woken up, would that have been worse? Would it have made it worse? Because now this person is caught. I'm pretty sure whoever it wasn't necessarily wanting to hurt anybody either. But the damage that it caused is for years. I would get up and check the doors. I was never somebody who locked doors. And I couldn't go to bed without checking the doors a certain number of times. And then I'd go through the windows and I'd have to check the windows. And then I'd go to sleep and I'd lay down for a minute and I'd wonder if I maybe forgot one. And so I would get up and I would go through the house again and check the doors and check the windows. And I did that for quite a while. So I think sometimes those thoughts can be caused by that too, is some sort of event that just makes you hyper vigilant in some way, or doesn't leave your nervous system or your thinking system, your thought
I,
system.
I can see that, but I think mine's more of a OCD thing. Honestly, I do believe that though. If something's sideways, I will try to ignore it, but 9 times out of 10, I have to straighten it.
I do have to straighten sideways things.
This
I can
couch,
definitely relate to that.
I put a weighted blanket on the couch, and it was like off centered at the bottom.
I saw you do that, sicko.
I had to fix it and make sure that it was centered on the bottom, and it's weird. Like I have to align things a certain way that's not even just straight. Like I like things on an angle. I'm an angle person and I like things on an angle, and I have to have certain things on a certain angle. And if it's not evenly angled,
It's gotta be, yeah.
it's got to be somewhat evenly proportioned with something beside it to make me feel comfortable. It's weird.
Now I want to twist everything in the house into an odd angle
So,
because I'm a
That door
monster.
opens and
so
shuts.
cleaning and reorganizing became a big coping strategy for me, with anxiety, when my anxiety was increasing due to narcissistic abuse. But I would notice that I would get in my head, I have to fix things. And so I clean, I nest, and I rearrange things. And what will take me the longest in cleaning is rearranging everything, because everything has to be set a certain way, or reorganizing the box so that everything fits perfectly within the container. And I'd switch containers just so that it would fit perfectly within in the container that I chose for it. And it's so stupid, because I know within minutes with children, it's just thrown all over the house. But to me, it
Right.
felt so important, and I would spend hours more cleaning than I had to. And I
Oh,
will
yes.
still sometimes do that. Sometimes it's hard for me to get started, because I know that I will get stuck in these loops where, I can't see, if I see a little bit of things, suddenly it's like, nope, now we have to scrub every inch and get out the Q-tips but yeah, things that are off center. There was also, Bill Cosby had a stand-up routine in the 80s that it was one of my favorite stand-up routines. But at one point he does something with his tie, and for the rest of the video, the tie is off to the side because he never straightens it back. And that used to drive me batty. The
Okay.
whole thing, it would drive me batty. So I would have to color while I watched it, or I would have to do something so that I didn't, I knew at a certain point in the video, I'm not looking at the man anymore because his tie is off center and I can't handle it.
All right.
So
A lot more got us skewed, and I'm gonna leave it at that. We do have a comment.
Yes, sorry, I'm not.
No, I like what Chili Mo said here, and I relate to that too. There's plenty of things. If I could reach my brain, I could find something relatable like that from watching. But Chili Mo says cannabis is a good form of meditation for me. When I feel ambitiously overwhelmed, human touch is healthy as well. Hashtag great point. And cannabis, I use cannabis. I use it to try and turn anxiety off. Now, there's something about that, and I could do a whole podcast on how my thoughts on cannabis and recovery and all that stuff is, but
That's Thursday.
that's Thursday. So yeah, to be honest,
That is Thursdays for real.
it is a good form of meditation when I regulate it properly, and I feel it's quite rare for me now to go full Cheech and Chong and kind of abuse that, which is why I felt like I was right in using that for a medication, because I do not want to dial it back, and the pros outweigh the cons on a large scale for it for me. So I appreciate that, Chili.
Before I get on the podcast, You're okay. Before I get on the podcast, I have to wash my feet. I have issues with my feet. I don't ever wear shoes, and I can't. I went through 4 pairs of shoes to see that look like I probably could wear those. I looked down and I'm like, yeah, no, I can't. It
I
didn't
used
look right
to
on
like
me.
to carry my shoes around. Do you ever do that? Like when I was younger
No,
and I used to dress up and I would have really nice shoes that I liked, I would carry them so that people could see the great shoes that I had, might even like put them on for a second, but then they were off. So
no.
That's hot.
And socks too. Socks. I can't do socks or shoes. I just can't. It's not of me.
can't do
I
that.
don't I don't like them. I own them, but I don't like them. And I finally decide my Jesus flip flops are what I'm going to wear. But at the end of the day, I can't do it. I have to clean my feet before I get on the podcast because I will not be able to have a clear thought for you guys because I'll be thinking about the dirt on the bottom of my feet.
I can't relate to that on any level.
I do not like how my feet feel gritty. And I'm sweeping all day long. Am I not?
I
I'm
sweep all day
sweeping a
long.
lot, and I also have like a washcloth. I will take a dish, or not a dish rag, but a dirty rag, and I will wipe the floor down quite often as I'm walking through the house, just because I have my feet. You never know what might happen with my feet.
I can't
I gotta
walk.
keep them clean.
I can't walk around barefoot. I have house slippers on all the time and socks. I actually step out of house slippers and into shoes. I don't even want my socks feet touching the ground, and that is a whole other podcast full of
Well,
trauma.
my
I have
mine
dirty
is.
feet. I have dirty feet and I'm not ashamed of them.
I can't. You never know who might want to suck on them or lick them or touch them. I have to keep them clean.
I'll wash them real quick. It'll still
I
happen.
no, I gotta keep them clean. I can't think. I can't think. I can't think unless my feet are clean. I swear, the whole show would have been terrible for
I
me
can't think
because
with shoes on. I always have to take them off. I like to take them off when I sing. I like to take them off. I can't. It's very difficult even to drive with shoes on. Like the winters here are brutal for me, mostly because I have to wear shoes when I drive, and
they
that's very
we,
difficult.
we went to somebody's house, and usually you say, do you want me to take my shoes off or can I leave my shoes on? I say, can I please take my shoes off? I asked if I could please take my shoes off, please, because I can't. And they're like, well, a lot of people don't take. I've been to houses and they're like, well, a lot of people don't take their shoes off. They're gonna get. I don't care. I have to. I
Mhm.
have to take my shoes off. I can't. I can't socialize with you with these things on. The whole time I'm thinking of these things on my feet.
What do you think that is? Because I do that too. It's like this hyper awareness I have of my feet. As soon as socks or shoes are on it, I have a hyper awareness. If my
Me
feet are
too.
not, like all I can think about is how uncomfortable my feet are.
Me too. Me too. Like I can't. And I went through so many pairs of socks to try to find a pair of socks that would be able to be on my feet. And I decided no socks. I went through a bunch of shoes. I had a bunch of shoes out here. Danny talked about buying me more shoes. I don't want shoes. Everybody keeps talking about buying me new. You can even ask Shirley Mo, and I'm like, I don't want new shoes. I don't even want the shoes I own.
Do we wear the same size shoes?
I don't know. No,
I think we do.
no,
Let them get the shoes.
mine's huge.
Are that no?
Yeah, mine's bigger than yours.
Mine's big.
These are 10, 11s.
Oh,
Yeah, you got like 8s and men's.
I'm dainty.
Yeah, my shoes are huge. But anyhow,
I'm sorry, that was bad.
it's okay. I like my feet. They're
No,
sexy.
feet are made. Yeah, big feet are made. I
Mine,
wish
mine
my
are
feet were
nice.
bigger.
I like mine. I ain't mad at them. They're beautiful. They're long, lean, and mean.
Well, I'm the messed up one. I'm the messed up one because y'all are on the same wavelength. You're very grounded with your feet on the planet, and if I don't have socks on, I feel like I'm in danger. Putting on flip flops to me feels like some kind of like handicapping device.
You know what the bad thing is? I used to get my feet smacked when I was little. My dad used to spank my feet and be like, "Where's your socks? Where's your shoes? Where's your?" And I'd have to go put them on because I was trained to put them on. I think when I had that form of control, when I lost all of what I was taught, and I decided to become who I am today, I decided this is the first thing that's gonna go. Hairbrush in my shoe. Hairbrush, man. I decided to no longer brush my hair.
You don't brush your hair at all.
No, I have locks.
You do stuff to it.
Yes, but I'm not gonna brush it. So the first thing to go is hairbrush and shoes. A bra would have went too, But the thing is, at the end of the day, these guys need some help. Gravity got the best of them. They're
Depends on the
outmatched.
type of public appearance I'm making as to whether or not I put on a bra.
If I
But
could put a sweater on and I could, and then what did I do? You said move, and I was like this, and you were
Yeah.
like, no, you're good. I was like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, oh yeah. You're like, how does it? I'm like, no, this sweater is very good coverage. It's okay. I
if
wouldn't
I
lie
put
to
on a
you.
bra, I'm really trying to affect everybody.
Me too. Me too. That's it.
Missy can relate. I hate shoes and socks also. When I take the lunch break, I'll sit down in my car and I'll take them both off. My
Yes.
feet don't squish right on the ground when in shoes or socks.
Yes. Yes. DDH. Hi,
What?
husband.
Oh, there is some. Hey.
What's your can you relate moment?
Oh no, we can't hear you.
That's a nice
Can
smile.
you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
What's your can you
What,
relate?
well, pretty much they say they rock with you, but they really don't like support you and stuff. Because I have been through that a lot in my life. So to me, that's my can you relate. There's a million other ones too. That's the one that stood out to me the most.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had that many times. I love you, but I'll never call you or see how you're doing or check on you. But I love you.
Yeah,
Who you? You love who? Because it don't feel like me.
right.
Oh.
But I was telling them about shoes. You said that you would surprise me with a new pair of shoes, and I said, please don't.
Oh yeah, actually, well, you have beautiful feet anyway, so you don't need that.
Thank you.
I like anything pink. No, I'm joking. No, my birthday coming up. No, I'm joking.
Serious, it is coming up.
It might,
Is your
yeah.
birthday coming up? When's your birthday?
Yes,
I'm trying to
Month.
forget it. It's in May. 17th.
it is coming up. He
It
is a
is.
Taurus.
It's May 17th. I am Taurus. I'm stubborn.
Biggest heart ever. They're lovers. I can't talk bad about the Taurus. My son and son SUN are both Tauruses,
Right.
so I can't talk bad about Tauruses. I love them both.
The tourists
So
get crazy.
DDH, give us a positive thing so that you can get your moment with the show.
Um, always have a positive outlook, no matter what situation you in. But think positive, 24/7. That's it, because there's always something that seems bad, but it's good the next day.
Can you read that post that you made that you tagged all three of your pages in that said, remember that moment? Can you read it? I don't know, remember it word for word.
I had to go back to what did it say. Remember, hold on, let me check here. I think if I navigate away from the screen, it might kick
Oh,
off.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it because
you're gonna
it's
pull it
not
up.
for me.
Oh, he come back. I'm waiting for Danny to come back because I want him to have some screen time.
This one.
Oh, you got it.
I
Yeah.
think it's one day don't make one
No, 2 years ago. 2
2
years
years
ago.
ago.
That's what it started off saying. It says 2 years ago.
2 years ago, you had problems you don't even remember, but it seemed like such a big deal at the time, didn't it? And yet here you are. This too shall pass.
Oh yeah. Well then I made one too. I thought you guys was talking about the one bad day. One bad day don't make a bad life. One bad day don't make a bad life. Take a break and move on.
Yes,
Okay, that's a good one too.
that is a good one too. We tend to jump to conclusions like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to live in the moment when there's swirling emotions.
I got
Yeah.
I got a surprise for my twisted team though. When the show is over, I'm gonna send something to the group. It says a big victory for us.
All right.
Okay,
All
then.
right. Wow. All right, Dan. Keeping us on the edge.
All right. Well, we have another really long question. Thank you for tapping on, husband. Love you.
All right, love you guys.
Love you.
Love you too, Danny.
What's that say? It's long.
Holy crap. We got Jelly Mo. I'm answering the touch and OCD subject. Wanting to touch everything is healthy. Our hands are transmitters to our brains, so touch is necessary for your mental health. Heavy thinkers get this. I used to feel sex was helping me with touch. When I'm overwhelmed in my head, having sex respectfully, of course, with the woman I'm with, it was necessary for me every day. It was just me wanting and needing to connect. So touch is healthy for anyone dealing with mental issues. I'm healing through.
I can relate. As an addict, I can relate.
I can relate right now.
I can relate.
Not as an addict.
Nope. But as an addict, I can relate. That was why I became one. That's why I did what I did, because that was my way of coping with reality. And it became an addiction. And I felt like I had to have it. So, yeah, no, I can. But that's for Thursday's show. We're going to talk about that on Thursday's show. We had a nice comment from somebody, and we have a whole bunch of potato salad. We're going to make it tomorrow and discuss it on Thursday's show.
Potato salad.
Yeah, potato salad.
I don't know what potato.
That's okay. They don't have to.
No, that's good. It's
a good thing. You don't
it's
have to
probably
know
a
what it
good thing.
means.
It doesn't.
It don't mean nothing. But it's the fact that we're gonna got a lot of things we're cooking
Okay.
tomorrow, and we're gonna talk about it. We got some knowledge, some food. That's what Matt calls it, food.
That's right, Matt. Matt, I hope you're okay out there.
Me too. But Matt calls it food. So we got a lot of food for us people to ingest and digest and redigest if you have to on Thursday.
Thursday's gonna be a wild one.
Yeah, Thursday we're gonna talk about addiction. Not addiction. What are we gonna talk about? Recovery from it and why some people want to recover and why some people are afraid of recovery. And what else was it? Was they afraid of recovery, or they didn't condemn, or they didn't condone recovery?
We're gonna be talking viewpoints, stigmas, and the way demographics feel about it. I got a lot to say on this one. I wouldn't say I'm spearheading this one.
Yeah,
It's
you are.
important to me. I've had someone I've had people come up to me for my final point, I guess I'm gonna make. I've had people come up to me after I've done a lot of work on something and say that you should stick to something else. And even if that something else was something I'm good at, it still affects me in a negative way to think that, well, even one person can get your mind all twisted up thinking that you're not doing the right thing for yourself, but it's not up to them, right? You know? Isn't that a hard thing when someone says that to you? All your work is, you should go somewhere else, even if they're not negative. It just wasn't good enough. So
Yeah.
that's probably going to lead into next week's subject. But that was my last big relating thing.
It can
That's
break
hard.
can break a person's spirit, particularly if they've put their heart into it.
Uh-huh.
And because someone doesn't want to quit doesn't mean you should quit.
Oh yeah.
That's the point.
I feel some type of way about it, but
just because they don't want to quit doesn't mean you should quit.
Well, it's hard because sometimes you need cooperation or a lifestyle that can support it, or people in your life that support it and that believe in what you do. If they don't value it, if society doesn't value it, you're kind of stuck.
No, because you just need one person. That's why we do this podcast. We just need one person to say that this show helped me.
We've had a bunch of them.
We had a lot of one persons.
And that's what makes me not worry about what one person
This show
says.
helped me. Now there's
there you go. And that's genuine. That's genuine. I love that. That's genuine. So our big news that he has for the team is that we are going to an event. We are going to be at a Strictly Street festival or fest on the 2025. And this is our lineup. But we're going to be in the building. Twisted Radio is going to be in the building. And we are going to interview an artist.
Can you read it?
Yeah, but I'm not reading all this. But this is where it's going to be. At
The Burnt Pickle.
At the Burnt Pickle.
I love pickles. This is perfect.
Food by
Pickle?
who?
That's a cool name.
Bob Hamburger on.
Bad Hamburger on Wheels. Okay, artist merch. There's going to be artist merch stables. There's going to be a twerk contest, and I am not missing that, or anybody. Empire will
Are
be
you
there.
entering it?
We'll see. I got to train a little bit more. DC and Company Entertainment will be there. Twisted Radio will be there.
Yes.
So that's going on. And what's that called again?
It's called
Strictly Street Fest. April 18th.
What's that?
It's
It was Danny. My apologize.
sorry. 2025 and other side. April 18th. That was right. It was just the font was
From 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. It's
Man,
gonna be a
is-
great turnout.
There's going to be a bunch of great artists there. It looks like, and we're gonna post some more details on. I didn't know you're gonna read it off right away here like that.
Yeah. Well, you'll see the flyer. We're posting the flyer. We're gonna be participating in promoting this.
So that's awesome, Danny. I can't wait to go to an event. It's gonna be fun. And like I said, I'm not gonna miss it.
So my positive information will be that just remember you're not alone. Even if you feel like you're alone, someone will be able to relate to you. I promise you someone's going to relate to you. Even my outlook on this perception of reality, someone relates to it. I know they do. It may not be the ones next to me. It may not be the ones that love me. But I'm telling you, I'm not alone. I promise you that. What's this say?
That show sounds dope. This show is so important to us all. A lot of people have grown through this show. Big facts, great points, and facts.
Yes. So we're gonna wrap this up. Did you say your positive thing, Gilly?
Mm-mm.
Go ahead.
Let people love you. I'll try to figure out why.
I like that
Damn.
a lot. That was good. On that note, thank you for allowing us to come into your home, your heart, your time, giving us this moment to share with you. May your night be full of positive energy and high vibrations. And you matter. We care. Peace and love, everyone.
Let's get to the bottom of this one. Unspoken truths that I miss one. Tap into the minds of the people. Rather acknowledge before I dismiss one. Atheists, Muslim, Christians, Buddhists, they all got usage. All got perspective. It's a collective. Get to the bottom where the truth is. Where the heart's uncovered. Boy, detox from all of the lies you smothered. What them tries could have killed you. But with faith you recover. Yup. Peel off the makeup. We finna take off. Never said it'd be a cakewalk. Meditate till we charged up. Execute goes regardless. Decalcify my pineal. Breaking language barriers, we saw millennials. Planets passing age rotations, down me we owe. So down me we know. Sometimes we can be slow, that's why my ears open. Every drop you add could complete the ocean. Speak up, play your part too. Been vulnerable, it's so hard to reflect on all the Jews like torture. It's on you, tell the truth.
Yeah, we about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's talk. Listen. Yeah, aim in the fit so you see in the mirror. Play with your focus and watch it get clear. Polish your crown, turn it up if you wear it. You live in the root, release what you're fearing. And watch it all rise, the righteous will hear it. They calling us twisted, I'm not even caring. Because it's unseen, the mind is too barren. They won't even heal it, they pass it to cheering. We over here healing, conversing and listening. Know that the truth isn't always appealing, but positive what you receive. Perception is up to you, what you believe in, what you retrieving, mentally speaking. Life that they breathing, no words from a heathen. Don't know it all, but together undefeated. Conversation, rather want it, you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the trial with the students and teachers. All got a voice, we the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Conversation, rather want it, you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the trial with the students and teachers. All got a voice, we the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Hey. Yeah.
We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. Praying for truth cause the world is so fickle. Keeping my mental how clean as a whistle. Attention's a trap, they can lead you astray. Steering this ship through the storm and the haze. Real conversations are lost in the greed. Others get lost in the web that it weaves. Sift through the rhetoric, uncover schemes. Knowledge inherited, this is imperative. I got a lot on my mind and I'm sharing it. Apples to oranges, it ain't no comparisons. I'm the type that'll never break character. I'm the type to make memories and cherish them. Trust intuition and doubt of disparity. Pursuing the echoes of wisdom. Chasing that moment of clarity. Conversation rather one and you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the track with the students and teachers. All got a voice, who the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Conversation rather one and you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the track with the students and teachers. All got a voice, who the ears that'll listen. Who the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen.
It's on, you tell the truth.